Welcome to the MMA Podcast. It's been a couple weeks, but we're back. We got a bunch to break down. UFC 158, which was 10 days ago, but we still have yet to talk about. We're definitely going to talk about that. It is the 36th episode. It's a late night episode. It's 1 a.m. on the East Coast if you're listening live. Definitely don't forget to tune in. We are going to be breaking down UFC 158 tonight. We won't be previewing any fights because there aren't any fights this coming weekend, but we are very pumped for April. We're going to have a UFC event every single weekend in April. We're going to break down the news as well. A lot of news revolving around that UFC 158 fight. So, yeah, we're glad to be back. Let's do it.
You're listening to the MMA Podcast with Jake and Chris.
And shout out to the listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys really keep us going. Shout out to our boys over at MMA Mental. They're really doing a hell of a job. I've said it a million times. If you haven't gone over and checked it out, you're a fool. They get like 10 interviews a week, and really good ones at that. They also are along on the MMA Roundtable, the show we do every Thursday. Also a shout out to the Word on the Street podcast, which I dabble in and help out in. Just last night, actually, we had Coach Jamie Huey and John McGuire, who's just moving down to lightweight. He's going to be fighting at UFC 161. Ramses, what's the fucking word on the street, son?
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, as always. Yeah, the word on the street is that, look, man, here's how it goes. I got on Twitter. I started this thing. I started a podcast, my show, The Word on the Street. I started because I used to weigh about 357 pounds, all right? And then I decided, I wanted to know what it was like to, be healthy. I wanted to know what it was like to kick another man's ass in combat. I wanted to know, the female touch. So I changed my life. And if you want to do the same, you're going to follow me on Twitter, The Aunt Jimmy Show. The Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. That's the word on the street.
Word on the street. We also got Chris alongside the original gangster. What's going on, man? Follow Ramses on Twitter at The Aunt Jimmy Show. Chris at C Lowenstein, all one word, and that's CLOWENSTEIN. Chris, what's going on, homie?
Well, I'll tell you what. First off, before I even get into me, if life has you down, life's giving you lemons. Let's say your cat just died, your home is going into foreclosure. Yeah, you don't have enough in your bank account. Follow the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. He's changing lives. He's Tony Robbins if Tony Robbins was actually funny and always high. So follow that guy. He's amazing. And enough of that bullshit. You know how I do. Things are looking up, man. Just glad to be back here, breaking shit down, and having some fun with my boys.
How'd that booty do? And yeah, the MMA Podcast, we're bouncing back. We either do the show Wednesday or Friday. We were unable to do a show last week, unfortunately. But yeah, the MMA Podcast, we're always doing this Wednesday or Friday. We're doing a late night edition tonight, and the MMA Roundtable. You always can tune in on Thursdays. And that's a more fixed show. That's Thursdays, 7 to 9 Eastern, 4 to 6 Pacific. We got myself, Ray, Patrick, Jay, Dave, Ramses, Chris. We're all chipping into the MMA Roundtable, giving our thoughts on the weekly ins and outs. And we also have just received a call from a regular caller. We got Yao calling in from New York. You are in New York, right, Yao?
Yes, sir.
All right, I got it right.
Yeah.
Where in New York you from?
Queens, New York.
Queens,
Pretty,
shit, man.
Pretty calm.
Shit, man. The reason we didn't do a show last week mostly was because I was visiting the city. I totally forgot you were in the city. I should have hit you up. My buddy and I were in town just visiting, gotten a drink or something. Unless you're training for a fight, you can't be boozing it up.
Nah, no fight coming up yet, but I am training regularly. In fact, I haven't called in a while.
Man, can't buy a drink right now. Who are you fooling? Yao is the youngest MMA fighter I know. He cannot buy alcohol legally. Son.
I'll buy you some, Yao. Don't you worry about that. I got you.
Chris is a pedophile, so you might want to stay away from him.
Hey!
All right.
Thanks for the word on the street there, guy.
Nice introduction for Yao to Chris. We won't bullshit anymore. We've gone about 6 minutes into the show with no MMA. We got to get into UFC 158. It was 10 days ago, but this is the first show since, so obviously that's the logical starting point. Lots of stuff going down at UFC 158, the big welterweight card. GSP, Diaz, Johnny Hendricks, Carlos Condit, Ellenberger, Marquardt. But we'll start it off with a friend of the show. Unfortunately, John McDessie fighting Darren Cruikshank, winning the unanimous nod, 29-28. I was actually watching it with a friend and told him, like, yeah, Darren Cruikshank, he's been on the show more than any other fighter. We're huge fans of him. He's super cool. And it was tough watching him. Just, it was not the same kind of fight as the Henry Martinez fight. John McDessie is called the Bull for a reason. He can take a lot of punishment and keep on moving forward, and that's what he did. Really, really great fighter now, coming off against 2 straight wins against Sam Stout and Darren Cruikshank. Just a simple question: what was wrong with Darren in that fight? What could he have changed? What was it was obviously a fight he lost, so he could have done something different. I'll start off with you, Chris, and then go to Ramses and then Yao. What was up with this?
I don't think it is so much about Darren Cruikshank's performance as it is John McDessie. I have never been sold on the guy. He's kind of hit or miss against guys like what the fuck is his name? Dennis Hallman, Penis Ballman, as we like to call him in a close circle. He floundered against a really top grappler. And Darren is a consummate martial artist, lifelong guy. His parents were both martial artists. His sister's a martial artist. So I think he has everything dialed in. He was also a college wrestler. So his work ethic isn't in question here. Training camp isn't in question. I think that John McDessie just looked bad fucking ass. I mean, back in the day, I thought he was bullshit because all he threw was spinning attacks and all his spinning shit. I mean, if he fought Nick Diaz would have been yelling at him, what's up with this spinning shit? So I think that his boxing has really progressed. I think the boxing won him that fight, and I think Darren made a mistake not mixing in his grappling against McDessie. Cruikshank prides himself on that Taekwondo black belt, and it kind of bit him in the ass on fight night.
I don't know what the fuck happened to Darren Cruikshank, but I was just as disappointed as everyone else on this fucking podcast, man. It was like he never pulled the fucking trigger. He never pulled the trigger in the fight. The whole time you were waiting for him. I was prepared for him to kill this man. And he never really just started striking loosely, man. He never got loose. I don't know why. Maybe he got fucked up at some point. Maybe he was hurt. I have no idea. But, he still, I guess, went the distance, whatever that's worth. But, yeah, man. He's going to have to win his next fight, or else he might be on the skids, even though that last fight against Henry the Zombie Martinez was one of the most impressive knockouts I've seen. Darren's got to step it up, or else he's out the dope.
What do you think, Yao?
Yeah, man. I think it was a combination of 2 things. John McDessie was fully prepared for this fight, and Darren Cruikshank really couldn't find an opportunity to really pull the trigger. He was very timid with his striking. He was doing more waiting and trying to react than going after his attacks. So it was just a combination of both, and I really wanted to see Darren Cruikshank kick John McDessie's head off, so I was kind of pissed off as everyone was.
Yeah, he really looked dominant against Henry Martinez, and unfortunately, he's fighting a guy nicknamed the Bull. You're not going to be able to kick him around and do what you want to do against a guy as iron-chinned as John McDessie. Moving down the fight, something I really don't see us talking too long about, but I'll go ahead and push them into one topic because they were both kind of boring fights. Mike Ricci defeating Colin Freakshow Fletcher. Like I said, I was watching the fight with a kind of friend who wasn't too familiar with MMA, and they showed the clip from the weigh-in of the fake teeth, and my buddy's like, "Is that his real teeth, man?" I was like, yeah, it's crazy. He has like these, he got him implanted. He has these really giant teeth, and he fights with them and stuff. It's crazy. And eventually walked out, and he saw that he still didn't have the teeth. But I thought that was funny, and judging by how hard all of you guys laughed, it was funny to you guys as well. Ricci defeats Colin Fletcher, and Chris Camozzi defeats Nick Ring in two fights that both. I guess I can't really compare them because the Ricci fight was a domination, and I had Ring winning. I guess we'll go around and talk about both fights. I did not agree with the Camozzi nod. I thought Ring won that fight, and my friend who is not really into the UFC but watched it was like, yeah, Ring dominated him for a couple rounds. What the shit? So, what did you guys think about those couple fights that start off the main card, yeah?
Well, the Ricci fight just pissed me off because if you look at Ricci's fight against Colton Smith, you see he can't wrestle. So I don't understand why. I don't even know that Freak Show guy's name, but I don't understand why he didn't just take him down.
Colin Fletcher.
Like what Vitor did after seeing Chael take Anderson down. He just goes out and stands right in front of Anderson. But anyway, the Nick Ring fight was disgusting. I don't even know how he's still in the UFC after that performance. Like, his takedown attempts, it looked like he was trying to headbutt Camozzi's penis or something. And then he just needs to go back and watch UFC 1-on-1 on Fuel or something.
That's a show I'd watch.
What the fuck, headbutt and cock? I don't even know if it's my turn or not. But Jake, yeah, when you told the story about your friend and you totally bombed, I was laughing. I was laughing at how bad the bomb was, and I forgot to unmute it so everybody could hear it. But never mind that. The Mike Ricci fight was absolute dog shit. I'm done with Mikey Ricci. He's just, I don't know what happened, man. He's sitting there drinking wine in a comfort leather massage chair with bunch of hoes with GSP's bastard son.
No, he would be in a jacuzzi with all the TriStar boys. Come on now.
See, that's another thing, man. Yeah, he fought like he fought like a girl, man. That's the safest word I can use. And I'm the word on the street here, but
Fallon Fox.
Yeah, Mike. Oh yeah. We should bash it a little bit later on in the podcast.
Like
yeah,
she did to her junk.
This fucking, what was that? Oh, Ricci, yeah. Ricci stunk. I'm done with him. His head is too far up his own ass. He was fighting like everyone else fought on Tough Season 16. It was like another one of those fucking fights. It was ridiculous. I'm done with you. But Nick Ring versus Camozzi, I am a Camozzi fan. He is Team Darkside all the way, training with all the bastards up in the One MMA. And so, I'm glad he pulled that one off. Nick Ring can go to hell. Word on the street.
Yeah, this is my Nick Ring impression. I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna smash him good.
All right, so that's my Nick Ring. Mike Ricci, you know what? He is a good mixed martial artist. You can't take that away from him, especially a guy that was fighting a weight class above. That being said, he's the kind of guy that you would see just pouting at a fucking Starbucks listening to Morrissey. Fuck that guy. Colin Fletcher, he's interesting enough to keep him around, probably another fight. Otherwise, he looked very ineffective against a well-rounded guy. I mean, Mike Ricci isn't a specialist in anything. Colin Fletcher is a specialist, so that was somewhat interesting to watch, I guess, that grind fest. And Kamosi versus Ring, who the fuck cares about that goddamn fight? It's so weird. They have Kamosi, Ring, McGee, Dongie Yang, and Brad Tavares. Those guys, it's like a fucking circus of those guys just all fighting each other. I don't know what it is, this like C-level middleweight fest. All those guys, go back and look at their records. They've only fought each other in their last like 3 or 4 fights. I could give 2 shits.
Yeah, I really don't have much to add on either fight. Other
Fucking
than what I
Mike
said.
Ritchie. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I totally agree.
Mike, I'm just this fucking guy, man. He had such potential. Like, I see in him a great fighter, but what the fuck is he doing now? He's just fucking tweeting out pictures of like candy and McDonald's shit, and then fucking pictures of him buying like at the mall, like buying like fine linens and cloaks and shit. Fuck you, Mike Ritchie. I'm done. All right, sorry.
Rory McDonald used to be a normal, boring-ass Canadian before Ricci got involved with him. Now look at fucking McDonald. He's got fake hair. It's blonde. He's wearing fucking, like, 80-year-old man clothes. Yeah, you can actually blame Mike Ricci for turning Rory McDonald into a hipster. And a self-righteous hipster at that.
And he's injured every fucking fight. With it. Fuck you, too, Rory McDonald. I'm done with him, too.
Compacted anus. I'm calling it now.
Compacted anus, and that brings us to the next fight: Jake Ellenberger versus Nate Marquardt. Ellenberger really handing it to Nate, winning the fight exactly 3 minutes into the first round. Like I said, I'm a big fan of both guys, and I was hoping for a quick finish. I picked Marquardt, but we saw Jake Ellenberger. I will defend his loss to Martin Kampmann until the day I die. And really, you look at his record since joining the UFC. His only 2 losses are a split decision to Carlos Condit, which a lot of people think went Ellenberger's way, and that loss to Martin Kampmann, where he dropped Kampmann just as hard as the first, as Kampmann dropped him in the second to get the TKO. But I digress.
This old fucking horse that Alistair Overeem would eat. What are we doing?
I would like to eat this horse that you are beating. You are beating it, and it looks well done. And I would like to eat it now, and then do 100 full body squats, and then bench 500 pounds. I am Alistair Overeem. All right,
that's a stand-up comedy album, right? It surprisingly didn't sell any.
What the fuck is up with all these select-jawed faggots?
What's the deal?
What's the deal with this? All right, Jake Ellenberger knocks the fuck out of Nate Marquardt. Where does this put Jake in the welterweight division? I say he fights Rory next, and you give the winner of that the next title shot after Hendricks versus GSP. What do you motherfuckers think? Chris?
Yeah, fuck all that noise. Before I get to that question, I just want to say one thing. Nate Marquardt never should have dropped down to welterweight. I've been saying it for a long time. He was a solid middleweight. He was a giant middleweight. I mean, just a real thick dude for the weight class. I never understood it. I mean, just because, dude, he won his last fight against Dan Miller at UFC 128 and then dropped. I thought it was retarded. He has looked less than stellar at the weight class. I mean, yeah, putting Tyrone Woodley away with some fucking Tekken combo, that was awesome. But, he never should have done that. Jake Ellenberger looked great. I mean, the only knock you can give that guy is his cardio. Otherwise, he has amazing wrestling and power to knock anyone out with both hands. Where does it put him? You know what? You said Rory McDonald. I don't want to see that fight. I don't think McDonald deserves that fight, to be quite honest. I don't think that McDonald has really had a stiff test in the UFC besides Carlos Condit.
Damian Maia?
Exactly. I'd like to see Damian Maia versus Jake Ellenberger. How the fuck did you guess that shit? That's crazy.
I got that GSP, ESP shit.
I do not approve of this message. But yes, I want to see that fight.
Holy shit. Jake Ellenberger, is the question what's next for him or some shit? Because,
yeah, son.
I got news.
You got the run sheet.
I got news for you guys. I got breaking news about Jake Ellenberger. He ain't going nowhere, alright? Nobody's ever gonna buy a pay-per-view with the name Ellenberger on it, alright? They might give him a title shot, but they'll work him, dude. and by that I mean they will pay him to lose on purpose. But Jake Ellenberger, he ain't going nowhere, man. Who cares? Who cares? I don't even know what he looks like, really. And I saw him fight, what was it, 10 days ago, did we say? Yeah, Jake, no, man, it's not happening with this guy. Nobody can tell him and Jake Shields apart. Nobody cares, and nobody ever will care. And, he's a great fighter. But it's his own fault, man. He hasn't put himself out there. So he's going nowhere, and that is the word on the street. That's the way it's going to be.
Just about exactly 11 days since UFC 158.
Hey, Ramses.
What's up, man?
Why does Jake Ellenberger have such bad cardio?
I don't know. Why?
Because he's got a goddamn bowling ball for a head, and imagine slinging that thing around. Fuck that shit,
a fire
dude.
Hydrant. He's swinging a fire hydrant around. Yeah, what'd you think? Ellenberger knocking out Marquardt. What is next for Jake Ellenberger? I mean, realistically, the way I see it, he is the next in line for the title shot after Hendricks.
He should just fight Damian Maia. That's it. That's the only fight that makes sense at this point. That's it.
I got a question real quick for all of you guys. Just throwing your 2 cents. What is the deal with the telecast, the pay-per-view, where they claimed that they had the number 1 through 6 in welterweights? They said that, Hendricks, Condit, Diaz, GSP, and then Ellenberger, Marquardt. Where the fuck is Tarek Saffiedine on that list? I mean, that guy just made hamburger out of Marquardt's leg, and they were selling it like Marquardt was the number 6 welterweight. How do you guys feel about that? That kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, I mean, they were really clever with the wording. They said the 6 top welterweights in the world. And it's like, well, you don't have number 4 and 5 there. You have the champion and the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 6, and then an unranked guy. You look at it now. Tarek Saffiedine is ranked 8th. He's still ranked behind Nick Diaz, coming off 2 losses. Martin Kampmann coming off a very one-sided loss. Tarek, I think people aren't giving him enough credit. I think when people think of his win over Nate, especially now that Jake Ellenberger dispatched him so quickly, and the fact, I mean, it sucks, but a lot of people think of that win as like a game plan win. A lot of people aren't thinking Tarek Saffiedine's an amazing fighter. They're thinking he fought with a very intelligent game plan that anyone could have pulled off. He is in the top 10 in the most stacked weight class in the UFC, though, and you look at the guys ahead of him, it isn't like in the heavyweight, or I guess the heavyweight. The heavyweights aren't a good example. I'm looking at the top 6, but it isn't like you have a bunch of bums in front of them. You have I'll go down the list after GSP 1 through 10 as Hendricks, Condit, McDonald, Ellenberger. Jake Ellenberger is actually number 4 right now. Then Maia, Diaz, Kampmann, Saffiedine, Lawler, and Koscheck. So actually Rory is ranked ahead of Ellenberger and Maia somehow now. But these rankings don't make a lot of sense to me. Probably won't make a lot of sense to most people. But I do agree Tarek Saffiedine deserves more credit than he's getting.
You know what, man? I agree that the welterweight list given on this card was bullshit, because my argument, and never forget, gentlemen, one of my favorite fighters, and I consider to be one of the top 5 welterweights in the world, Mr. Brian Ebersol. He was not included on this card. He is on the injured reserve list. He will be back, and people never talk about him, but he is one of the best in the world. And
he's at lightweight now, homie.
He's never fought. He announced that he was moving down there, but he never actually fought there yet. And he's not going to after this injury. That's the word on the street. But when he comes back, he's going to continue to dominate, just like he did the first run. It was just he took that last fight on short notice, and he lost the decision, But he'll be back. That's it.
Yeah.
Is there a question in here somewhere?
Yeah, what do you think about Tarek Saffiedine's place in the welterweight division?
I don't know who Tarek Saffiedine is.
And that answers it for you.
There you go.
And that answers the question.
I didn't even know that was
you.
the question, man. I thought we were talking about the top welterweight.
Yeah, no, we were talking about
listen to this.
Saffiedine getting dicked on the rankings and on the pay-per-view not being recognized ahead of Marquardt, considering he just beat Marquardt. That was the
Motherfuckers are high
question.
as hell.
All right,
Jesus
Saffiedine.
Christ, the Chiba's strong with these guys, huh, Jake?
Chiba is very strong in New York and Austin. I actually think I specifically
should've been
worded
about
right
Brian
before I pass it to you. What do you think about Saffiedine?
Well, you should have asked, what do you think about Brian Ebersol, right? How about that?
Very well. All right, we will move on to the co-main event. Johnny Hendricks defeating Carlos Condit by unanimous decision, 29-28 by all three judges. We know what's next for Johnny Hendricks. He's going to get a shot against George St-Pierre. But I want to talk about Carlos Condit. In my opinion, he is the third. He is easily. Yes, I don't think he's as good as GSP and Johnny, but I really think he could beat every other welterweight in the UFC. What's next for Carlos? What is next for him? Does he get another title shot down the road? I think he does. I think he'll probably fight Rory next. Rory's been calling for it, probably still wants it, and Condit's coming off a couple of losses, and I think Condit will beat Rory again, so that's what I think's next for Carlos, and then he'll probably win one or two more after that and get another title shot. What do you guys think is next for the natural-born killer? I need to take a drink of water because I can hear my fucking mouth fucking being like Marco Rubio, goddamn. But yeah, what is next for Carlos Condit, and where does this put him in the welterweight division?
You know what? I'll start off, guys. Listen to me. Look, Carlos Condit, man, I hated this guy for a while after he dropped the belt to GSP on purpose. It was a work. I didn't respect him anymore, but now that I've had some time, I've tried to put myself in Carlos Condit's shoes. He had no fucking choice, all right? When Lorenzo comes to you himself in your hotel room, knocks on that door, knock, knock, knock. You open the door, it's a billionaire, the owner and the president. He controls your whole destiny, all right? And he comes and sits you down and tells you, look, man, the brave thing to do here, he convinces you it's for the good of the company, it's for the good of MMA, the sport, everybody, you and your family. And he just asks you, he's not asking you to get yourself killed or anything. He's just saying, let the guy win a decision. So yeah, you can't say no to that. He had no choice. Carlos Condit had no choice to recognize that, and I forgive him. But as far as giving him another title shot, no, he doesn't deserve it. Because you take a dive like that, man, you don't get another break. You get to be like a fucking, maybe he'll be the Ryan Bader of the division, just some gatekeeper who starts to fade. I don't
awesome
know.
ads.
Yeah, hopefully he gets a deal, his modeling career takes off or whatever. Or maybe his wife, does some porn. She's pretty hot. I don't know what's going to happen to this guy.
She has Indian blood in her and giant boobs.
Yeah. You just want to squeeze him all day. Anyway, yeah, Carlos Condit, man, no title shot anytime soon, but keep it going. People will forget. You'll build it back with a couple of wins, or you'll just be the next Ryan Bader. Word on the street.
Yeah, where does this put Carlos Condit?
Well, first I have to say that I was so happy that Carlos Condit lost, being that he fights out of Greg Jackson's gym. I love when their fighters lose, but where does it put him? He's just going to keep losing because that's what happens when you lose to George St-Pierre. You just start losing. So where does it put him? I think that Rory fight is going to happen, which is a joke. Rory's going to demolish him, but yeah, that's where it puts him.
Wow, strong words, Yao. Is that the truth? I don't know. Carlos Condit.
Yes, that's the truth.
That's the truth. All right. I respect that. Yeah. Carlos Condit, you know what? He's going to have to fight his way back. For having a very good record in the UFC. He fought two of the best guys out there. and looked pretty goddamn good. All, conspiracy theories aside, he's looked awesome. The thing about Carlos I like the most is that every time he shows up, he looks different. He's one of the few Jackson fighters that has that killer instinct and has so many tools that he can actually, look different in every fight, and I respect that about him. Where does it put him? You know what? Match him up with Safadine. They were actually scheduled to fight, and Safadine turned it down. That makes sense, and Rory McDonald makes sense. I just looked at all the rankings currently, so in the eyes of the UFC, I mean, you got Campman, but that's a rematch. Don't want to see that. Robbie Lawler, shit, man. I say if they don't match him up with McDonald or with Tarek Safadine, I think a Lawler fight would be decent, as well as a Koscheck fight. If Koscheck is taking this fighting thing seriously for once, and he wants to get back in there against a killer, put him up against Condit.
Yeah, I really do think we will see Condit versus Rory next, and that will be an intriguing fight. The first fight was great. Both guys have really evolved a lot since then, so that'll be a fun fight. Before we move on to the main event, I want to bring up Carlos Condit saying he wishes he would have fought George St-Pierre like he did Johnny Hendricks, which is interesting, because to me, when he implies he wishes he would have fought George like he did Johnny, he's implying that if he would have fought that fight like he did against Hendricks, he would have won that fight, which is sort of in a roundabout way saying he thinks Johnny Hendricks is a better fighter than George St-Pierre. Maybe I'm over-extrapolating here, but what do you guys think about his comments saying he wishes he would have fought George St-Pierre differently? Ramses, what's going on here?
Look, man, this is the first honest statement we've had from Condit, and he is talking about how he was forced to drop the belt to GSP here. He's saying he wished he could have fought GSP like he fought Hendricks, which was a real fight. He wished he could have had that fight against GSP, but his hands were tied. So were the hands of his wife and daughter, allegedly.
Oh,
they get you, man. They give you that phone call. Like when I'm not saying Lorenzo, but when just somebody's in your hotel room talking to you with a briefcase of money, and then you get a Skype call on your cell phone. It's your wife and daughter tied up, and this is getting too deep here. All right, I know that you guys try to keep it mainstream and whatnot. I know you guys got things to worry about here, but you know what I'm saying here. But Condit was honest here. He wishes he could have had a chance to fight GSP for real like he did against Hendricks. That's what he meant.
Yeah.
I forgot who Carlos Condit was.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay, then. Alrighty.
Chris?
I'm done with Condit, man. I'm having it, man.
I don't put too much stock into saying that. Hindsight is 20/20. I mean, you can make all the excuses in the world, but the reality is George St-Pierre is not Johnny Hendricks. They're two completely different people. Greg Jackson is really keen on game plans, so the game plan for Johnny Hendricks is definitely not the same you would have for GSP, and I'll leave it at that, man.
You know what, Yao, sir? I have a question, man. The reason you're done with Condit, man, seriously, how long would a guy like Carlos Condit last in Queens, man? Tell it like it is.
How long would a guy like Carlos Condit last in Queens?
Yeah, and we're not talking sexually.
Not very long if I'm around.
I mean, you could kick his ass, right?
Sexually?
I would, and I'd love to.
Oh my god, dude, I want to set this up, if that's my life mission.
But let me say one thing. If there's one guy that I could really fight, it would be Mike Ritchie.
I would actually rather set that up. Dude, if you beat that hipster with a Morrissey CD in the other hand, and you just shove it in his face, I'd love that.
We could, if he loses his next fight, we can probably make that happen, man.
We would just have to promise him a hometown buffet meal and some crying. That's it.
Zip him up in a Burberry body bag. Send him to the fucking Toronto corner. You're done, son.
That's
Yao
beautiful.
versus Ricci, dude. I'm ready to see that.
I'm gonna start making
Spread the
t-shirts.
word.
That's the
Yo,
truth.
Word.
we're setting
Yeah.
up the fight card. We got Ramses versus Eddie Sanchez, Yao versus Mike Ricci. I guess figure out who myself and Chris are going to
My own
up
teeth.
against.
My own teeth. I'm already, 0-1, so.
Yeah, I'll
You guys
fight
should
Fallon.
fight another podcast.
I'll fight Fallon Fox.
Yeah.
I would pay to see you get choked out by a tranny. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'd probably have a boner anyway, so all the blood would be rushing toward a different part in my body. Moving on, the main event, George St-Pierre defeating Nick Diaz. A lot of BS talk. We will get to the Diaz camp making a lot of accusations about the fight, but first, what I took the most offense to, the whole fight, I listened to the Bill Burr podcast, the Monday morning podcast. I'm actually going to send him an email soon, because if you type the MMA podcast into Google, you know what it says? Did you mean the MM podcast? The Monday morning podcast, Bill Burr's podcast?
Shit.
So,
He pays for that shit, dude. He pays for that. That's a
Get 'em
Google
on.
service.
yeah, so, Burr, we're coming for you, son, but it was really funny. I was listening. I gotta give him props, and he made a really good point. He said he usually doesn't buy UFCs, but he saw this one ad that showed Dana White saying, George St-Pierre snapped today. He's never been more angry in his entire life. And,
He's in his dark place.
He's in his dark place, and he's gonna put a he said he would put a beating on Nick Diaz like he's never blah 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 blah. Fast forward to after the fight when Joe Rogan asked him, George, there was a lot of bad blood leading up to this. Did that inspire you to fight harder? George going, I did not take anything personally. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, talk about wolf tickets. The UFC is building up this whole thing. George snapped. I've never seen him more angry in my entire life. Fast forward to after the fight. I did not take anything personally. And then later, when Diaz is being interviewed saying, yeah, I think the sport is bullshit. I think I'm going to retire. George is standing behind him clapping like, no, it's okay, man. Come on, you're a great guy, a great fighter. He's like, raising Nick's arm up in the air. Like, come the fuck on. The UFC was literally advertising this entire fight on George, this super nice guy. He's pissed, and he's finally gonna fucking beat someone the fuck up. And after the fight, I did not take anything personally. And he's raising his arm. Yeah, that's okay, Nick. You should keep on going. You're a great fighter. I love you. Like, come the fuck on. What? It really bummed me out that Silva Sonnen, you could tell there was animosity. Diaz GSP was just a case of the UFC fabricating something, selling quite literally wolf tickets. Wolf tickets meaning you're advertising something that is fake. I mean, I actually called out Malky Kawa because Chael tweeted 30 days until I take your belt, John. And Malky's dumbass is like, oh, you're trying to sell wolf tickets, aren't? I was like, yeah, Malky, I don't think you know what you're saying. Chael intends to take that belt. He's not, saying 30 days until I take your belt, John. That's not selling wolf tickets because he intends to take the belt. The UFC playing up a fight saying, oh, GSP snapped, he's more angry, when he really couldn't give less of a shit, which I did mention a couple weeks ago, talking about John Danaher on the MMA Hour, saying, yeah, George actually laughed. The only reason he was mad is because he misinterpreted when Nick said motherfucker and thought he meant it literally. And I'm not even kidding. That's like what John Danaher said on the MMA Hour. But it's just, it pisses me off seeing GSP. I do not think anything personal. Like, come the fuck on. Stop selling wolf tickets, UFC. Chris, what is your reaction on this?
Well, I have a very emotional reaction. I'm going to try and make this short as possible. Number one, fuck GSP. Ramses was on the money. I mean, the guy was fucking done.
I agree. Yao, hey, Yao, fuck UFC. I know, or fuck GSP. Jesus Christ. I know he's your favorite fighter. I'm pretty fucking stoned right now.
No, GSP is a consummate gentleman. That's fucking boring. I was okay with that when he used to finish fights. And yeah, the dude is turning into John Fitch. Straight up. His striking, it's overblown. Fuck that guy. I'm not going to get in too much of a diatribe. So Ramses, you were on the money with that. GSP is donezo. I think after Hendricks, what more? What more could he actually do? As far as my reaction to GSP, saying he didn't take it personally, I got an impression, I guess. I got to do it. So, now, George! There was a lot of blood!
Wait, would you like me to do Rogan and you can do George?
There we go. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Alright, George, you didn't really make that fight. You really kicked Nick Diaz's ass. You really fucked him up there, George. But, before the fight, you were talking a lot of shit, and Nick was talking a lot of shit. What do you think about all that shit talking? Did that really pump you up for this fight, George?
Joe, I sat at home many a night while Canadian snow buried car, and I sat by firelight and I looked into electronic photo frame with picture of Nick Diaz, and I put lipstick on it, and I sat there thinking, will I take this personally? No. He will be my friend. After this, we will get Putin, and everything will be okay.
I like to go to Applebee with Nick Diaz's wife and my wife and Nick, and we order bloomin' onion from Applebee, and it's good time.
I'll tell you what, those are Wolf tickets. You brought that up real quick.
Wolf tickets. UFC's selling Wolf tickets.
And perfect analogy for that is that goddamn Chael Sonnen, Anderson Silva, number 2, UFC 148, post-fight, where, fucking Anderson offers up a steak for Chael Sonnen. And I'll tell you what, Chael is still waiting for that steak.
Shit. That's true. Yeah. And I will pass it off to Ramses before we get to Yao, but just really quick, I gotta add in, Chris, you said GSP's your least favorite fighter. He's mine too. Fuck GSP. BJ Penn's my favorite fighter, and he would have won the welterweight title if GSP's corner wasn't greasing the fuck out of his back.
Oh, God.
I don't care if his mom came to the appeal hearing or not. That was some bullshit. George St-Pierre is a fucking cheater, and his next 2 opponents, supposedly Johnny Hendricks, Anderson Silva, either of those guys could finish George in the first round, and we're going to see as such.
I agree with the last part of that.
I agree with that.
GSP's done. I think we can all see it, man. And his last 2 performances have been a farce. All right, it's just, look, UFC 158. They're saying it did 1.1 million pay-per-view buys. All right, and then you guys want to. Some fans want to think there is no corruption in MMA. Well, guess what? Nick Diaz, the contender that fought in the actual championship, posted a video showing corruption in the UFC and MMA. They were going to let GSP miss weight. They didn't give a fuck. There were fucking 1.1 million pay-per-view buys at stake.
Shut the fuck up with the 0.9 pounds.
You guys know that I'm telling the truth here. All right, it was bullshit. Nick Diaz there was no chance in hell he was going to win this fight unless he knocked George out cold, which he does not do. Yeah, that's not the kind of fighter he is. That's why the fight happened in the first place, because he was safe. But GSP's got nothing left. We're going to see that. We've already seen it. His performances are bullshit. It's only matters. That's why they don't want Hendricks to fight him. They know he's going to knock that fucking bum out and end the reign. No more pay-per-views, no more Canada sellouts. Come on, guys. Let's just wake up here. Let's be real adults, all right?
Ramses.
This ain't wrestling.
Ramses, all right. How drawn out did George St-Pierre look at the weigh-ins? Did he look extremely drawn out? No. In fact, after the weigh-in, he put on his shoes and aggressively walked toward Nick Diaz. Now, Diaz camp is making this big deal about he weighed in at 170.9 pounds, and, we didn't know about the decimals, and that's bullshit, because Nick weighed 170, and George weighed 170.9. As much as I dislike George St-Pierre, that 0.9 pounds, if you watch the same GSP Diaz fight I did, George St-Pierre dominated the fuck out of Nick Diaz. Diaz had no answers for him, and George St-Pierre did not look drawn out. In fact, he looked energized. If you're saying, it's bullshit that they let him weigh in 0.9 pounds over, guess what? He would have been given an extra hour or two to lose that extra 0.9 pounds, and GSP did not look drawn out. He could have lost another 0.9 pounds easily. It was probably just a fuck up by the judges. We've seen it many times, especially overseas. In Australia, we had the fuck-up of all time with McCall versus Mighty Mouse 1, the draw that shouldn't have been a draw, that should have gone to a sudden death fourth round, but by a mistabulation from the judges, it was called a draw. We see commissions fuck up all the time, and Diaz saying, this is fucked up, this is BS. Yes, he weighed in 0.9 pounds over, but seeing how energized GSP looked, he probably could have lost that 0.9 pounds in 20 minutes. I hate the motherfucker, but...
How much is the UFC paying you to say this, Jake? Seriously. Listen, man, look, we all saw it with our own eyes.
Alright, no. Ramses, what about what I said doesn't make sense? Because I'm just speaking alright, Diaz is bitching about the 0.9 pounds, which I understand, that's bullshit, and I totally get the whole side, the UFC's making millions, if GSP can't weigh in, this fucks up the card. What I'm saying is, the whole argument is GSP can't weigh in. GSP looked svelte. He did not look drawn out at all. If you're saying that the UFC was worried that he couldn't make weight, GSP could have dropped that extra pound in 20 minutes, and that's just logical. I mean, he put on his shoes and fucking power walked up to Nick Diaz. He wasn't shuffling his feet. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't shuffling his feet like Travis Lutter fighting Anderson Silva. The dude was jacked up. What about that? I'm just simply interpreting what I saw. It's not like I'm taking a weird angle, the UFC's paying. What about that is weird to you?
Let me tell you what I saw. All right, what I saw. Look, title fights have to be on the dot. That's the rule. What I saw
in some states, you can weigh.
They were going to let it go.
You can weigh one over. I think in some states.
Hold on, I let you talk. Now it's my turn. Cocksucker. Here we go. Look, title fights have to be on the dot. I saw a video of someone trying to tell Nick Diaz, it's an off-the-record rule, that they'll, if it's 0.9, they'll just say it was 170. An off-the-record rule. Look, I saw that with my own eyes. So what I'm saying is there was some bullshit going on there. Title fights have to happen on the dot. You give them the extra time to make weight, fine, that's great. That's within the rules. They were telling Nick Diaz they were going to bypass the rules in this video. And that is what it all comes down to, and that is the bullshit and the scandal of it. And it is ridiculous, it is an outrage, and it is unfair for Nick Diaz. I didn't even really care who won the fight, but that was bullshit.
I've one question for you. Do you think GSP would have been unable to make 170 pounds on the dot?
No, I mean, they would have, they would have fucking set back the clocks over there in Canada. They would have passed a new law to fucking daylight savings time to give him all the time he needed.
I think fighters always get... No. I think fighters get an extra hour or two to lose weight if they don't make weight the first time. Even in title fights, could GSP have lost that extra pound in an extra hour or two, which is really the sole question that Diaz is bringing up. And if GSP looked drawn out, I would say no. But I mean, come on, man, that's just a dumb argument when GSP looked as good as he did, which is why I'm going to move on. Yao, what is your reaction to the UFC selling wolf tickets about GSP being all spurned up, and then after the fight saying he didn't take anything personally?
I don't understand the question.
Damn, yeah, I was fucked up tonight.
I got it. Basically, how do you feel about GSP saying that when he fought Diaz, he didn't take any of the pre-fight shit personally? He didn't take it personally at all.
Yeah, what do you think about the fact that the UFC sold this fight saying GSP's never been more pissed off, and that was the selling point they tried to make money off, and then it's sort of false advertising when you see after the fight GSP, I did not take anything personally. What do you think about, do you think that's unethical?
Well, I think what happened was around the time that Dana White was saying all the stuff that GSP was pissed off and everything. At that time, I'm sure George was really fired up, really pissed off, really angry, just wanted to beat up Nick Diaz. But that stuff goes away after a while, and especially after a fight is over, especially after the fight that George had with Nick. I'm sure he didn't care anymore. George is a gentleman. He's a pioneer. He's a good guy, so of course he's going to say he has an image to portray. So of course he's going to say that, everything is okay now, blah, blah, blah. But the UFC is a business. They made a lot of money off of the wolf tickets. And
this is true.
That's something they have to do. They have to market this stuff. They have to market it on social media the way they were doing. They have to do it. It's a business.
Yeah, I just think they could have sold it and been honest, but it was sort of a dishonest campaign. Nick even called it from the outset before the fight. Wolf tickets. Speaking of Nick, what is next for Nick Diaz? Looking at the welterweight, picture, who do you think he should fight next? I think, if Maya doesn't end up fighting Ellenberger, I think Maya Diaz would be a fun fight. We'll start off with you. What is next for Nick Diaz? Yao is dead. Yao is dead. Chris, what do you think's next for Nick Diaz?
You know what? I'm sold. I like to follow my gut, my initial gut reaction, and when you asked that question, first thought that popped into my mind was Josh Koscheck. Consider this. Koscheck lost to Hendricks by a very narrow decision. Probably should have won that fight. And then he lost incredibly to, Robbie Lawler. And then you have Nick Diaz won a close decision to Condit, and then kind of won a close decision against GSP. So I would have to say that makes the most sense. Also, considering there were rumors back in the day that they were going to fight each other when he was coming over into the UFC after he lost that title shot. So I think Koscheck, it makes the most sense to me that he would want to make, his name off of a big win to get him back into a title hunt. So I think that him fighting Nick Diaz not only poses some great stylistic stuff that you could sell, but you can also sell that they were originally slated to fight and then that fell through, and they're both on 2-fight losing streaks. I mean, I can't find a better fight for either of them.
Yeah, Koscheck versus Diaz almost makes me think about Sonnen versus Bisping, just in the fact that it's the biggest troll in the division versus the most trollable fighter in the division, and that's always fun. We're actually sort of seeing it again in Chael Sonnen versus John Jones, which is this month. It is upon us. The month. Or wait, no, it isn't this month. Shit, but it will be this month in a few days.
Soon enough.
The month of Chael, the year of Chael, UFC 159. It's going down. Ramses, you were about to talk, but I cut you off. Not being a gentleman here. What is next for Nick Diaz?
I was just gonna say nothing. He's probably going to jail, like he said, man. That's some deep shit. But God bless him. Yep, God bless him. But no, maybe they'll just take all of his GSP money away from him. So if that's the case, then yeah, he'll fight again. Because honestly, what else is that guy gonna do for a living? Who's gonna hire that guy? So yeah, we'll see him fight again.
Yeah.
Sorry, my call dropped.
What's next?
It's all good.
What's next for Diaz, man?
Untruth.
Yeah, I was on that crystal meth tonight. Shit.
No, I'm just like so tired, but
Queen's meth.
what's next for Nick Diaz? Taxes, right? Didn't he say he never paid tax? Isn't he gonna go to jail or something? Or
Damn.
Something.
I don't know. I really don't know. Fight wise, he should just fight. Who should he fight?
Christian
Koscheck.
Warcraft. Oh, Koscheck.
No, he should fight Koscheck.
That sounds like a great idea, man. I wish I would have thought of that.
Conrad. Honestly, I don't believe this IRS shit. If the IRS was really coming after him, they'll do like they did in the James Toney fight, which we actually found out last night on the Word on the Street podcast with Ramses, Coach Jamie Huey, and John McGuire. We brought up the James Toney Randy Couture fight, and Huey actually was backstage there because he was cornering in the prelims, and apparently that night or the night before, James Toney found out that his entire UFC paycheck of like $250,000 was all going to the IRS because the IRS was putting $500,000. The IRS was putting a lien on it and taking his entire paycheck. So really, if the IRS was coming after Nick Diaz, they just put a lien on his shit. So I don't believe it. Diaz is just being a bitch.
Jake and Ramses, I wanted to get your take real quick on Koscheck Diaz. I mean, do you guys think that's a reasonable fight? Is that something you would want to watch?
I actually really like it. I mean, Diaz showed a weakness against that strong wrestler type. Koscheck is kind of like, GSP toned down a little, which would be a good matchup. I mean, if GSP had been a little toned down in that title fight, it would have been a close fight, but GSP's GSP. I like GSP Kos. Yeah, make it happen if for no other reason than the pre-fight build-up. I'm sure we're going to see both dudes yapping their head off during the weigh-in. It'll probably be a stare down that somebody shoves another guy, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, if Nick Diaz can show me that he actually wants to fight and he's not just going to go in for a paycheck against a guy like Josh Koscheck, then I'll watch that.
Koscheck, like he's a bouncer. Right. How old are you? I'm 25.
Shout out to Joey Diaz. No, if he can, if Nick Diaz can like convince me that he's there to fight and he's not just doing another stupid fight just for the paycheck, then I'll watch it. Otherwise, I have no interest in this bullshit.
Ramses, what would it take for you to be convinced that Nick Diaz is here to fight? Because that guy brings it every time in my book. Well, why do you think he threw anything?
He'd have to put out like at least a 25-minute video of him hitting the speed bag this time.
Okay, the last time it was 20-something?
It was 23 last time.
Oh, Jesus, man. Your standards, bro. Word on the street. God damn.
Ramses, did you have anything else said?
No, I'm sorry. I was just smoking weed. No, we can move on now. We can move on.
This is great.
Don't worry. It'll pick up right now.
Lenny Hart would blow word on the street for nothing.
You fuckers are boring!
Speaking of announcements of names, are any of you guys WWE fans?
No.
Never.
I was.
Wow, nobody.
I'm not a faggot.
All right. Okay, we can move on.
Harsh. All right. Finally, it's a topic I think we'll all agree on the Korean Zombie calling out George St-Pierre, saying he's offended at the Rising Sun, because apparently it's like, it's like basically akin to the Confederate flag in the U.S. It stands for some hate and bullshit. I don't give a fuck. Obviously, George St-Pierre isn't going out there supporting kamikazes or whatever the fuck the Rising Sun is for. It's the warrior spirit. Lay the fuck off, Korean Zombie. I know you can twist through some bitches, but that doesn't give you the right to call out the champion. I hate his ass, but he is the champion. Chris, are you offended at George St-Pierre walking out with the Rising Sun gi?
You know, I'm going to channel my inner Ramses here. How about this? Grow the fuck up. I mean, really, we're going to talk about an event that happened in the 1940s that had nothing to do with anyone related to us. I mean, maybe your great-great-grandparents or your grandparents, whatever. I mean, this is the same thing as, like, a gay guy being offended at faggot or a black guy being offended at the word nigger. I'm sorry. At this point in the game, you can't really take that shit personally. You really can't. You really cannot. Words are only as powerful as, okay, I fucked that up. Words are only as powerful. Nope. Words are only have much.
A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Words only have as much power as you give them. I go through this quite a bit with, people in my inner circle, and I make fun of everything on a personal level. I don't give a shit. I'll make fun of white, black, Asian. It doesn't matter, because if you have safe words or things that, you're really offended about when someone says a word, then you're a fucking moron. I'm sorry. If somebody makes fun of white people, I laugh at it. I'm like, yeah, we're pretty fucked up. I'm sorry. If somebody makes fun of German ovens, I'm going to be, that's funny. I get it, because I'm white and I'm German and we used to burn Jews. I get it. That's hilarious. So what? He had a fucking couple of, red painted rays coming out of the sun and some fighter got offended by it. Well, I'll tell you what, fucking Korean Zombie ain't fun to hang out with. You could go to the grocery store with that guy and you'll pick up some ginger and be like, oh, what? Because I'm Asian? Fuck that guy.
Holy shit.
You're talking about safe words? My safe word is Oklahoma, for the record.
Okie?
For the dominatrixes out there. Sorry. Go ahead, Ramses.
Word. Yeah, look, I kind of agree with you, Chris, to some extent. Words, it's just sounds coming out of people's mouths. How can you be offended? That being said, though, I don't like GSP anymore, so I'm just going to say I am calling for him to be cut from the UFC immediately because of the way he insulted the Asian community as a whole, walking out with that gi. He might as well. You guys ever see that picture when the atomic bomb is being dropped in Japan and that little girl's running away from the blast?
And you can't tell if she's crying or not because her eyes are...
That's just hilarious.
Yeah, and exactly. But GSP was basically wearing that image on his gi for all the Asian community was concerned. All right, it was an outrage. I am very offended, even though I'm not Asian myself. No, I really am. You can hear it right now. I do want him to be cut from the UFC. It should happen immediately. Put up the websites, tweet it, favorite it, get on MySpace. Do what you got to do. Put the word out. GSP needs to be cut. He offended every single Asian on the planet, and there's billions, I hear. And that's the word on the street.
Really quickly, to just step on that issue of GSP weighing in a little over, which fighter landed the late hit? Diaz?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. It just popped in my head. I thought I'd mention it like a bitch.
Dude, we are beyond that. We're talking about nuclear bombs, son. We're talking about Nick Diaz bombing Japan with weed.
I was going through news news stories to bring up on the podcast as we wrap up the last hour, and that popped up. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that late hit. Fuck, I had to bring it up and be a bitch.
Yao hasn't even talked about GSP.
GSP hates Asians. Yao, your opinion?
All right, first I have to say that was hilarious what Ramses just said. That was like that was really funny. But
he's a god among men.
But
God.
As far as the Rising Sun thing, honestly, I can't care because I had all my training gear is Ikusa, the one GSP is on like every single poster, but it has the Rising Sun on it, so I can't care because it's all over my gear. But if Korean Zombie is offended, just fight GSP. Then that's all I say.
Fight him. TKZ versus GSP. We will try and make that fight happen on the MMA podcast. I guess unless anyone has any more points on UFC 158 they want to bring up.
Yeah, I do actually.
All right, Chris.
Quick question. Let's just do a yes or no with everybody. Will you ever buy a GSP pay-per-view outright?
Yes.
Okay. I'm talking $45 for standard, $60 for high definition.
Yes.
Would you buy it again if it wasn't Hendricks or Anderson Silva? Another contender. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Ramses, Jake.
Look, no, I will never. I will allegedly pirate every UFC that he is the main event of from here on out, because look, the 1.1 million pay-per-view buys for that fucking performance, they're gonna let anything go. They're gonna do everything in their power to keep this man champion for as long as possible, and that means we're gonna see a lot of bullshit fights coming up, and I am not gonna be a part of it. It's gonna make me sick, but I am not gonna drop another fucking dime to watch a GSP headlining event. That is the
That is the word on the street, and he just cut himself off a little early too.
That's
the word on the street.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I was getting a little emotional. I don't usually.
That's my mom at the door. Yeah, I get it.
That's my mom at the door.
Yeah, it's not like me to just yell and scream like this, and I apologize for raising my voice like this.
I mean, we know GSP's next two opponents are going to be Hendricks, and if he wins that fight, Silva, and I'm going to drop it.
We don't know that. We really don't. I mean, they could bring in Koscheck for a trilogy fight. You never know.
It's true. Well, I definitely spend the whole $60 every card. I legally purchase every event. So, I don't see. Yeah, I do, really.
I do as well. I'm a loyal fan.
We all spend the money.
How do you guys...
A loyal lover, Yao. I've heard that word on the street. It's the truth.
I'm just a loyal fan, that's all.
That's true. Ramsey, so were you going to ask us something?
I thought better of it. Never mind.
No, Ramses, I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
How are we saving up the money? Because I love Dana White and the Fertitas and Station Casinos so much that I'll spend $1,000 a year gladly on one specific sport that airs like 2 hours sporadically on every few Saturday nights. Moving on. We will go to the news. Let's play our little news clip because that's what we do when we go to the news, son.
Why can't I hear this?
You know the deal. Alright, the first bit of news, it was brought to my attention because I was on Twitter, and Ramses brought it up, so I'll let Ramses lead us off, and then we'll pass it off to Chris, then Yao. Dana White, who has made the news in the last year or so because he's trying to restrict what fighters can do. People like Donald Cerrone, who like doing things like wakeboarding and riding bulls. He doesn't want them to be doing that sort of activity. Dana posts a vlog today, a no-fight vlog, of him going 125 miles an hour on a street bike on a 2-lane road. Kind of crazy. Ramses, I'm going to lead it off with you because I know you got the strongest opinion. It was brought to my attention when I was just looking at your Twitter. What is the deal with Dana? You know, if he fucking dies, like you said, the sport's brought back a decade. What the fuck, man? Dana, get your shit together.
Dana White's, man, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but he needs, like you said, he needs to get his shit together. He's going fucking crazy here. Maybe after that fucking surgery, I don't know what the fuck they did to him. They did some total recall shit on him. Now he's having a midlife crisis apparently on YouTube. It's fucking ridiculous. He's going 120 plus miles an hour on a motorcycle without a fucking helmet. And he's putting that shit online for some goddamn reason. He's the president of the goddamn UFC, $1 billion company. But yeah, Dana, man, look, if he dies, there's going to be some fucked up shit going on, and you know the UFC is going to suffer. Any way you cut it, it's going to suffer. So look, Dana, take care of yourself, man. Get it together. Get a fucking hobby. My fucking dad, he was building model sail ships or something. God bless him. Maybe you. I know the kind of man you are. Maybe just go back to fucking the Octagon girls, man. Why'd you give that up? Let's go back to that. It's a lot safer. And, hook up with Rogan. He'll get you some of that fucking OG Kush. All right, DW? Ooh. Hang in there, bro.
Yeah, man. Fucking people trying to tell Dana White what to do. That's hilarious. The guy is on a crazy insurance plan. He's a goddamn multimillionaire. Oh, is it really hypocritical for him to own a company and say, hey, I'm going to go really fast on a bike on a video log? No, I don't think so. That's like me going to any boss I've ever had and being like, look, listen, I think those cheeseburgers you're eating are not good for your health, man. Don't do it. Just don't do it. And as far as, Ramsey said, midlife crisis, Dana White tweeted recently, I don't know, just hanging with my kids is all I do for a hobby. It's pretty pathetic, but all I really do is work, man, but I enjoy it. That sounds like a guy who is just too goddamn busy to enjoy life. So if he wants to sit down on a fucking motocross bike and do his best ESPN, BMX impression, let him do it. If he wants to go out on a crane, above the fucking United Arab Emirates and bake a cake, go for it. I don't give a shit. I don't think
I've
any
done
Western.
That before.
I know you're really good. You're really good.
Yeah, so that brings. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So I don't care what he does. The man is a goddamn legend. I mean, he turned a company around. He has awesome profit margins. Him and his friends are fucking filthy rich. If that guy wants to scale a goddamn wall with lizards all around him, I don't give a shit. Let him do his thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you did remind me. Another reason why this was just ridiculous is that Dana White does have fucking kids. So what the fuck are you doing riding a bike at 100 plus miles an hour without a helmet when you got fucking family at home and kids? What did you think about this shit? Did you see this? He's acting like he was on fucking Jackass season 2013.
Better that than heroin.
You there, yeah?
You want to see out?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Dana White fucking around on his moped. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. It would suck if Dana White died. I wish he didn't. But if he did, I'm sure he has somebody that he's just storing away that knows like everything, and that's exactly like him, just in case something does happen. So I don't think it would be too bad.
Hell yeah. I don't know, man. I've just people getting wrecks on bikes. Shit. If Dana White were to get in a super big wreck, who would take his spot? Fucking Lorenzo? Joe, yeah. Joe would just make more shitty matches.
No, he has somebody.
Yeah, somebody's gonna put fucking...
He's got a random body.
He's just gonna put Mike Tyson in as the president. Let's move on to the Tough 9 and 10. We haven't talked about the last 2 episodes of Tough. The 9th episode, we saw Bubba McDaniel win that wild card fight after Kevin Casey retired. And last quarterfinal episode, we saw probably the fight of the season in Luke Barnett versus Dylan Andrews. Dylan Andrews winning that via TKO, and we also saw Kelvin Gastelum all jacked up after he saw Ronda Rousey that probably put his T to E ratio at 1,000,000 to 1, and he cruised to the semifinals to face Dylan Andrews. What did you guys think of the last 2 episodes of Tough? Yeah?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. That Luke fight with Dylan was definitely fight of the season. I was going for Luke because he's Team Dark Side, but as the fight went on, I did like how Dylan was really pushing the pace. Luke did a horrible... Excuse me?
That's racist.
Oh man! All right, I'm sorry, but
haven't you seen Django?
Have I seen what?
Django
Unchained.
Yes, I did. It was actually a good movie. You should check it out.
Thank you. I will. Go on.
I'm gonna watch that tonight, actually. I'm literally downloading Django. Well, or streaming it off Netflix right now.
Shouldn't y'all be talking? God, you guys are so rude.
Damn it.
Yeah, I
Really
really
thought
I thought I had the mic, but guess I didn't.
No, man, I'm busy singing
now you
Django.
do.
Sorry, go ahead.
You do. Yeah.
No, I'm done. You guys can talk.
No, stop. No,
Oh,
don't.
come on. Don't be like
Come on,
that.
son.
Hey,
This
come
is
on, baby boy. Just speak.
we're fucking live,
What the fuck
yeah.
are we
Come
talk-
on. Man,
yeah, Tough. We're talking about Tough.
No, but yeah, the Kevin fight was crazy. That knockout, I was laughing really hard because Ramses tweeted that he got knocked out twice. He knocked him out, and then the mat woke him up, and he knocked him out again. That was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, Rance is so
fucking
funny.
His head bounced off the push. CeeLo, you son of a bitch. That guy's... Sorry, I was smoking. That guy's head bounced off the mat and woke him back up. And then Kelvin was like, "Oh, Jesus, you're making me do this." But God bless him. And yeah, sorry, I interrupted Yao once again. I'm a jerk.
I don't think you actually did. I think he was done and you took over.
Yeah, I was finished.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you handed the mic off. All right. Well, now I'm going to hand it back to Jake because I don't know where the fuck we're at in this podcast, man.
Actually,
Chris,
that's...
Chris, what do you think about the last couple episodes of Tough?
Thanks for that handoff. I guess Ramses is as good with handoffs as his lovemaking, so it's
This
really...
is an MMA battle, dude. It's like a rap battle.
Yeah, just really spotty. All right, so I'll be honest. Episode 9, I don't like either of the guys. Bubba McDaniels is overrated, and Kevin Casey is a fucking joke. So when Kevin Casey quit on his stool, I was like, oh, well, I guess the court jester's here. You know, here he is. I really didn't enjoy that episode at all, and I missed episode 10, so I'm going to leave it at that. Fuck Kevin Casey, and Bubba McDaniels does not deserve a spot in the tournament, in my opinion.
Damn, yeah. Before we move on, I kind of think that Bubba guy is a sort of polarizing figure. What do you all think of Bubba? He's at one point trying to be a troll, the next point trying to be the serious guy, the next point crying on camera. I don't know what to take out of the guy. Yao, what is your thoughts on Team Jones Jackson's fighter, Bubba McDaniels?
He's ridiculous. First of all, he should have won his first fight against Kevin. Then he gets the wild card and doesn't even perform the way he really should have, and didn't even fight to the end because Kevin Casey quit. And then he has the nerve to not even want to fight who he was matched up with. The guy's a joke. That I would never do that. I would be thankful to still be even in the tournament. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got to question you, Jake. What made you bring up Bubba? Because I've got to say here, man.
That was me.
Oh, it was you?
Yeah.
I was the one who said we should talk about it, and to be honest, the only reason was because we're doing the 10 solid seconds of sports next, and I wasn't done writing all that shit up.
Oh, I hear you. Well, look, I got some just breaking news. Breaking news, only revealed here on the MMA podcast. This is the kind of shit where, I do my Tuesday After Tough podcast, but there's certain things that, you just don't want to bring up when you're talking to somebody that was on the show filming it. He's got a non-disclosure contract. He can't talk about shit. But it's funny that you bring up Bubba McDaniels, because I just want to say, everybody, please watch the next episode because you're going to laugh your ass off at this man. And that's all I'll say for now. But also, I just want to add that the UFC goofed big time, but it's one of those things where they had to. If you look at the poster for the Tough Finale fight, just look at the official UFC poster. They basically spoil the rest of the season. That's a word on the street, and that's all I gotta say. Yeah.
Just like the Kevin Casey clip, I look at it. Is it one of those things where like guys are lined up 4 or 5 back on either side, and you can kind of go one at a time back and see, all right, the first one's fighting each other, the second one's fighting each other, and you can kind of see who's fighting who?
Yeah, if you do the math, that's the way it's going to be. Yep.
Wow.
And sorry, but sorry I didn't mention that yesterday. It slipped my mind somehow.
Wow. So I actually am looking at the card right now. So you're saying the final is going to be Uriah Hall versus Dylan Andrews?
No, he's standing next to somebody else, isn't he? Uriah Hall's standing next to you're probably looking at the. I'll fucking not tweet you. I will link you the fucking poster that I'm looking at.
Alright, because, I'm looking at the one on Wikipedia. This is awesome pod. By the way,
I'm
guys. Looking at one on Wikipedia, and it's got Uriah Hall standing next to Dylan Andrews, and then the next one back, I believe, is Kelvin Gastelum versus some fuck. But we will move on, Chris, really quick.
Okay, that is the one. Yeah, that is the one.
Yeah.
You got it. That is the one. Look it up, guys.
So, Dylan Andrews versus Uriah Hall, that's going to be the finale. Chris?
Not sure.
Alright. We will go to the 10.
The word.
I'm not sure because I didn't watch the last episode and I don't pay enough attention. Sorry. I'm being honest here.
Once I say it's the word, man. How many times have I been wrong?
127,000.
127,000 times. Jesus Christ, that's a lot. But it does show, potentially, it would hint that tomorrow's winners will be Josh Salmon and Uriah Hall, and that would put Uriah Hall and Dylan Andrews in the title fight, and Kelvin Gastelum versus Josh Salmon in the third place fight, if you will.
Do you think Salmon likes fish?
I think salmon is from Tallahassee, and everyone I know from Tallahassee enjoys salmon. So I would say so. 10 solid seconds of sports where I talk about all things other than MMA, but keep it limited to 10 seconds. And I'm going to start that bitch right now. The Heat streak ends at 27 just hours ago as the Chicago Bulls in the United Center. Baseball prepares to get underway this weekend. The WC wraps up with the Dominican taking it all. Lots of players switch teams and NFL free agency begins. Hockey heats up. The Penguins look good. Sweet 16 going down. Florida takes on Florida Gulf Coast on Friday. Alright. Oh, God. Yeah. Next, we mentioned it briefly earlier. Somebody just came. Fallon Fox continues to make news. Some female fighters saying they'd fight her, some female fighters saying they won't ever fight her, Hulk Hogan saying he'd like to beat her up because I guess Hulk Hogan's tired of, I guess he got brought out of the spotlight after the sex tape for a few days, so he had to put himself back in the spotlight. You have a lot of people taking controversial stances, Rogan being one of whom, UFC commentators saying that simply, which I hate to sort of side side with him just because I'm a big fan of his, but I do agree, if you're going to be a transgender, I'm fine with calling you a woman, recognizing you as a woman, doing whatever you want. But when you're talking about fighting women, yes, I know you're on estrogen pills, and chemically you are a woman, but you're born with a man's frame, born with a man's shoulders, born with man's hands, and I'm not comfortable with you fighting women. I'll pass it off to Chris, then Ramses, then Yao. Should Fallon Fox fight women? What, just kind of what are your thoughts on this craziness with this transgender fighter who, her first couple fights, she didn't even let it be known that she was transgender, which I find a little shady. What is your opinion on Fallon Fox? Chris?
I'm sorry, missed that question. Hit me again. Sorry.
Fallon Fox, what is your take on her? Should she be able to fight women? What is the deal?
Absolutely not. Fallon Fox, as much as I want to support gay, lesbian, and transsexual people, because I don't have a problem with them, I'm sorry, but if you were born a guy, you're a dude. And that's the way I see it. So when it comes to fighting in a octagon or a ring and everything's said and done, if you have more testosterone than other women who are actually born women, then there's no way that you should step in the cage. I think that the fact that they're even considering it is a fallacy.
Yeah, I don't think it should be allowed professionally. Unless they get their own transgender league, which I am in full support of. Hopefully it happens someday. But, yeah, it's just too many questions about it. And, I'll give one fucking, maybe one way it can happen. If a woman fighter knowingly wants to sign up to fight Fallon Fox, knowing the whole fucking situation, then fuck it, she signed up for the fight. Let's do it. Other than that, no, it's fucked up, man. It's just too fucked up. I'm sorry. It's too weird.
Wait, dude, so even if a woman who's a professional fighter says, yeah, I'm going to fight this girl that used to be a guy, you'd be okay with that? I don't think that should even be deemed legal.
Yeah, because I'd honestly be cool if a woman signed up to fight a man and they both agreed on it. If that's what it's your own fucking life. If you want to fight somebody, I'm not going to be like, no, you cannot, because even though you both agree on it, you can't do it.
As much as I agree, it's a sport,
I agree with you,
bro.
Chris.
It's a sport. It's a sports, Ramses. I mean, like, you really have to have different leagues, because Cyborg Santos versus Benson Henderson, if they both signed on the dotted line, it wouldn't make sense. The fact remains, she was born a guy. That means she has the genetics of a guy. I mean, as much as she can change her body, get fake tits, it doesn't matter. The fact remains, she was born a man, and a man should not step into an octagon with a woman.
Yeah, well, I'm just kind of being real, because I know, we all know they're never going to allow this person to fight, transgenders to fight in the UFC. We can all agree they're not going to let it happen. So,
even if they were, you'd be okay with that?
If state athletic, if the state athletic board allowed it, the UFC would, by law, it would not be legal for them to discriminate against transgender fighters. So if the states end up leaning on the side of the transgenders, the UFC, if they say we're not trying to sign a transgender, they'll get sued under civil law, civil rights law.
Right. I'm looking for a personal answer from Ramses, because he said he wouldn't mind it, but I'm trying to figure out why. Ramses, why would you not mind that? Because that seems like a really big thing. Technically, you have a dude that got his balls and dick cut off. That's what you have. Regardless, you can on the street refer to this person as a she and respect them for who they are. But when it comes to a fighting organization, that seems very dangerous to me.
I'm just saying, if the woman agrees and signs the dotted line knowingly, knowing what Fallon Fox is, she signs that dotted line and agree and wants to fight this person. Who am I to say no? It can't happen. If they both agree on it, fine. But I do agree. Like I'm saying, I also know that it's never going to happen in the UFC because I don't think it should be allowed for like a title or something like that.
So you don't think it's dangerous? You don't think it's dangerous for the woman to fight what essentially is a man? Genetically, that is a man. Like you can it's the thing you want, but that's a dude.
Yeah, it's the stupidest thing on earth. I don't know what kind of crazy bitch would sign up to fight a man. But what I'm saying is, if she signs up and wants to do it, that's what she's signing up for. Like, you know, like if you're walking down the street and just some crazy woman out of nowhere starts coming up to you and starts punching you in the face and trying to square down and fight with you.
That's a completely different thing than
that is a totally different thing.
No. I'm saying she's stepping. I'm saying you know where I'm going with this
retard if
here.
you tried to attack me. Shit.
So Ramsey's what you're saying. If she wants to fight a man, if she wants to fight a man, then fuck it. And someone that's trained and actually like makes the decision to take a fight versus a man. All right, girl, you're a tough girl. Let's see what you can do. You want it, go for it. I'm not going to stop him. I totally
just like we would never see a state legally allowing Demetrius Johnson to fight Brock Lesnar. I don't, just in the same way. I think it's two separate entities, and it's not, you know, you've got to make sure a fight isn't completely one-sided, and I don't know, it makes me really uncomfortable.
Ramses, I totally understand where you're coming from, and the only thing that I have to say about it, I got your view on it, is that if it was a sanctioned event, like I understand the girl can sign on the dotted line, but I'll tell you what, money can be corrupting, especially for the UFC or just any other organization. You know, a girl can see some money signs and then she signs on the dotted line. Signing a contract to me isn't a big deal. What is a big deal to me is a girl, technically, by law, a girl is a man fighting a woman. Now, if the UFC tried to sell that on pay-per-view, GSP versus Cyborg, you know what? A lot of people would buy that, but that's a very dangerous thing, and that's all I'm saying. So, we can move on.
Hold on. One more thing.
Faber versus Carmouche.
I'll turn the tables here. What if the champion, the women's bantamweight 135-pound champion Ronda Rousey, she went crazy one day and started calling out Demetrius Johnson, and she was like, "I want to fight him.
I wouldn't buy it.
Sanction it, Dana." But I mean, would you? I mean, you know, like that's what I'm saying. Put it in perspective, though. But would you be protesting against it and saying it's not fair and it shouldn't happen?
You know what? If the UFC, if Joe Silva, the Fertittas, and Dana White actually book that fight, then they're going to go bankrupt within a year. There's no goddamn way that a business of this caliber is going to book a fight like that. The bottom line is the most important. No fucking way does that happen. So if they announce Rousey versus Demetrius Johnson, I would go, what the fuck? And you know what? I would tune in, but I'm not going to pay for it.
I agree. I'm just saying if Ronda Rousey called out Demetrius Johnson, was like, I want to fight him. I want to do this. I will sign anything. I wouldn't be arguing against her or trying to stop her. That's all I'm saying. I'd just be like, all right. Well, so why is anyone else different?
You know what? I get it, and I'm not going to argue anymore on the point. I think we just have differing views. That's all.
All right, well, after letting Chris and Ramses go back and forth, we've yet to hear from Yao. Yao, what do you think about Fallon Fox?
I don't know anymore after hearing Chris and Ramses. I really don't know.
Keeping it concise.
You know what? No, it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't. No, like what Ramses said, there should be like a separate league or division, but it would take a really long time to fill that up because it'll be very new. Just like the women's division, it would be like really hard to fill that up, but they should have their own division or league.
Yeah, I agree, dude. They have enough problems trying to get women at 135 pounds to fight Ronda Rousey. Imagine trying to fill up a mixed division with people willing to sign in and all the fucking insurance costs. Hell no. That's never gonna happen, dude. Never. Cross-promotional. No.
And also, you got to think about, how it would make the sport look. It could give it a bad name. Like, you never know. You know what I mean?
Well, I totally know what you mean. It is a bad look. For the average consumer, they're still trying to build the UFC as a viable brand. It's not as big as NFL or NBA. Imagine trying to get on the market like they're doing now. They're close. They're close to breaking through to that big time. Imagine trying to sell a Ronda Rousey, Demetrius Johnson pay-per-view. It's not going to happen. You could even put it on free TV on Fuel. That's not going to happen.
No, honestly, I would watch that. And I know a lot of people would.
Yeah, I agree.
I would.
Are you guys serious? You guys?
Or what about like Bigfoot
Silva
Silva versus Ronda Rousey?
A lot of people would pay to see a black man beat a white woman up.
Yo, I technically have paid for that on certain porn subscriptions. Yeah. We will move on, and just as a quick reminder, if you do want to call into the show, the number is 213-457-3380, or you can Skype us at the MMA Podcast if you are listening live, or you can tweet at us. Our Twitter is at the MMA Podcast, all one word. We got the Twitter up, we got the Skype up. Hit us up if you want to tune in, or not tune in, but call in and be a part of the conversation. Just a few more topics before we wind down tonight's show. We're hour 45 in, some strong pod. The next thing I want to talk about, Chris Weidman, apparently, the UFC has been attempting to extend his contract, and Chris Weidman is opting to wait until after the Anderson Silva fight, which I believe is the last fight on his contract. Apparently very confident in the fact that he's going to beat Anderson Silva and be up for a lot more money. What do you guys think? I think it's dumb. I think he's going to lose to Anderson Silva. I mean, even if you're that confident, at least go up with a little brevity, thinking, hey, you know what? I'm about to fight the best fighter who's ever lived. Maybe I should get my extension before I fight this guy. So, I'm going to beat him. Which, I get the mentality, but just business-wise, come on, you can't be going that much with heart, and just get the contract extension now. Don't worry about it. Do you all think it's smart for Weidman to wait until the Silva fight, or do you think he should take it now? Yao?
That's honestly dumb, and I don't understand why his manager. I hope his manager didn't give him that idea, because that's a bad move. Here's what he's probably thinking: when I beat Anderson Silva, they'll offer me even higher contract, an even more lucrative contract. So I'll just wait till after. But that's not very smart to just wait, to just put your contract on hold like that.
Yeah, this smells like total bullshit to me, actually. Weidman waiting on Silva, on the Silva fight before he signs the extension. No. All right. Actually, the truth is, Silva is waiting on the Weidman fight to sign his extension. All right. He's holding out a little bit. And, Weidman, he's holding out just because Silva is, if that makes any sense. There's really there's no chess game going on in Weidman's part. This is just common sense here. The fight's already booked. It's already in the books. It's going to happen. So they're both going to wait and see what happens. This was kind of a little, if anything, was a bad move on the UFC's part, not seizing Weidman up last year when it was obvious that he was going to be in line to fight Silva. They fucked up. They waited too long. When his house got destroyed, they should have come at him with a check then. That would have been their best move. That's what I would have done. Word on the street.
Wow, that's some pretty powerful stuff. As far as Weidman with his contract, I mean, fuck, I'm not a manager. I'm not a fighter. I'll tell you what, if him and his team thought that it was a good idea to wait for the Silva fight to sign it, then they have a reason. I don't know what that reason is. I think that Chris Weidman is going to get smashed by Anderson Silva. A lot of people say he's, the next coming of Christ or some fucking pariah. I'll tell you what, Chris Weidman has never fought a guy like Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is on another level, even in his old age. So I'm not going to judge the guy.
He beat up Mark Munoz.
Fat motherfucker. Yeah, Chris Weidman is definitely a contender and a guy to watch in the coming years. I think Chris Weidman could beat Alan Belcher. I think he can beat Michael Bisping. I think he can beat Chael Sonnen, as much as you guys don't want to hear that. But the problem is, Anderson Silva is a goddamn matrix, okay? The guy is fucking Neo. There's no way that you're going to come in there on a split decision win against Damian Maia and a fucking TKO of an overweight Mark Munoz and beat Anderson Silva. No way, no how. So how do I feel about it? Whatever. If he wants to fucking re-sign, let him re-sign. It doesn't matter. Once it's time to put his signature to a dotted line, he still is going to lose.
Damn, I was actually just thinking, Ramses, you were going to fire back. Weidman, Sonnen. Chris says Weidman's got it. If Sonnen fought Weidman, who do you have? Word on the street. And that is directed at you, Ramses.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
Ramses, you with us?
Oh, shit. Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Holy shit. I was winding up there. Oh, God. Let me catch my breath. Yeah, Chris Weidman versus Chael Sonnen. Are you fucking kidding me? Get out of here, son. Look, Mark Munoz was his last opponent where he got that glorious victory. Like you guys were saying, Mark Munoz, he has gray hair now. You see him now. The man is 47 years old. They just revealed that on the last episode of UFC Tonight.
So is Silva.
Exactly, man. They're all bums. Mark Munoz, he even faked an injury to get out of a fight. He dug Chael Sonnen. But Weidman, dude, did you see his performance? Do you guys remember the fight before Munoz? It was against Damian Maia, I believe. That was the weakest fight of all time.
That was garbage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think Chael Sonnen would do to that man? That's all I gotta say.
He'd hug him for about 15 minutes. Nice little hug.
He'd out wrestle that fucking bum.
Damn. Well, we will move on. One last topic before we get into our beatdown of the month. Melvin Guillard, sort of sad news. Melvin Guillard decides to leave the Black Zillions to go back to Jackson's, but he made one critical mistake in that he did not check with Jackson's first. See, what you've got to do when you leave one camp for another camp, you got to know ahead of time that next camp's going to bring you in. And unfortunately, Melvin Guillard apparently did not contact Jackson's first because he leaves the Black Zillions. He along with Rashad Evans, he sort of followed Rashad out of the camp, followed him to Florida to train with the Black Zillions, and he left the Black Zillions to go back to Albuquerque and train with Jackson's, and Jackson's voted on it, and they do not want him back. So Melvin Guillard is a free agent. No one's claimed him yet. It's kind of sad. I guess he is also up for a couple assault charges in New Mexico or something. Just everything seems to be turning around on Melvin Guillard. Just a year or two ago, he was the cream of the crop of the lightweight contenders, and now I believe he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. What is the deal with this move where he was going to leave for Jackson's, and then now Jackson's doesn't want him, and he probably won't be able to rejoin the Black Zillions. His career is being brought in on a warrant. What is going on with Melvin Guillard, Chris, and then Ramses, and then Yao? Shit.
Well, I'll tell you what, Melvin Guillard is one of those guys that, he spent most of his amateur career and early professional career just getting wins in fights. I mean, the guy has, something stupid, 40 amateur mixed martial arts fights before he got to the UFC. Might even be 50. I mean, the guy is goddamn amazing as far as, turning up to a fight. So he got to Jackson's, after getting choked out by Joe Stevenson. He decided to go there, and he went to Jackson's. He went 5-1, I think. He beat, Waylon Lowe by a TKO. He beat Evan Dunham. He beat, Shane Roller by a knockout. I mean, the guy had a nice run. And then in his current run, he's, one win, 1 draw, and 2 losses. I mean, you can't really sell a contender on that record. So I think back in the day he looked good. I thought he was the next contender for a lightweight title, but he's fallen from grace. So whatever happens to him now, I don't really give a shit. And if he's leaving Black Zillions, good for him. If that works, if he goes back to Jackson's, actually he's not welcome there. So.
You know what? I'll keep it short here because I know that Yao is the biggest Black Zillions fan on Twitter and probably the entire internet. So I'll throw it to him in a second. But I just want to say it's not looking good for the Black Zillions lately. We got people ditching their camp now. People of Melvin Gallard's caliber. That's oh man. That's bad. When the bums are leaving your camp, it's not looking good. So Yao, dude, you're one of the biggest Black Zillion supporters. Are they still your favorite camp? If so, what the fuck is going on, man? They're even losing silly ass Gallard here. What's going on?
Look, the Black Zillions is still my favorite camp, and I don't understand. Nobody ever talks about their wins. Like, people just like to talk about, oh, they're losing this fight, oh, they're losing that fight. Nobody ever brings up their wins. And then when they do, it's only for a small segment.
World Series of Fighting?
Yeah, we had a good night that night. Even Tyrone Spong with his glory fight. Nobody, and then Vitor he knocked out Michael Bisping. Like, nobody talks about these things. But they want to talk about the losses. But
I'm sorry, but the two main guys in the camp are Alistair Overeem and Rashad Evans.
Oh,
and both
God.
both of them are coming on. It's like, I mean, think if GSP and Rory both lost giant upset fights. TriStar is good, but people be talking shit.
All right, yeah, I understand, but you got to remember, this goes back to, they were established in 2011. When was TriStar established? Way back. When was Greg Jackson's established? Way back. Black House? Way back.
Not really.
When was Black Zillions founded? Way black.
Actually, Black Zillions was founded in 2009, 2010. Jackson's goes way back, but Black House is actually really fresh.
No, but think about, who founded the Black Zillions? Rashad Evans, who's coming off 2 losses. I think he's coming off 2 losses, right?
Yeah. One to Jones and then to Little Nog.
He's got to step it up against Hendo, man.
But Melvin Gallard, it is sad to hear about Melvin. He's my favorite lightweight. He will always be. I was kind of upset when I saw his tweet about that he was leaving, but he's fine. I think he's going to serve like 6 months in jail, they said, and some fine charges. He's only 29. He's about to hit his prime years. He'll be okay. We'll take him back. He never left, and we'll be all right. Watch, you'll see. This is our year. Y'all, everyone will see. Watch.
Damn, started from the bottom. No, you're here.
He's right, man. When you hit rock bottom, the only place left to go is up. Yes,
that is true. You all ready for the beatdown of the month?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. My beatdown of the month is quite simple. It was the most publicized fight of the month George St-Pierre versus Nick Diaz. God, talk about a one-sided fight. I don't care if GSP weighed 0.9 more. He looked like he weighed 50 pounds more than Nick Diaz in that fight. He just completely jacked him up like everyone who was on GSP's side thought he was going to do. Diaz could not do anything with his jiu-jitsu from the bottom, could not do anything with his boxing, and was completely shut down by who in my eyes is the second best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and the fighter I dislike the most. But you know what? He's good as fuck. GSP beat the shit out of Nick Diaz, and that is my beatdown of the month. Ramses?
Yeah, my beatdown of the month, I'm just gonna go a little obscure here. I'm gonna go a little fucking hipster on you guys. Some shit you forgot about. It's all underground. My beatdown of the month is the Rick Story fight versus fucking Quinn Mulhern, some bum. It was a can fight that they fed this fucking Rick Story, but I just admired this fight because Rick Story knocked him out, technical knockout in the first round. After that silly ass fight where Damian Maia, almost exploded his head, popped his head like in the movie Scanners or something. There was a moment in that fucking fight where Rick Story was getting choked out by Damian Maia. The blood started coming out of his mouth, ears, nose, and throat. And you saw the look. If you look closely and pause your download at the right moment, you'll see the look of horror in Rick Story's eyes, Rick the Horror Story's eyes, when he realizes, when it goes from being I'm a UFC fighter, oh yeah, putting on a show, to where he's like, holy shit, this man is killing me right now, I am dying, my head's about to explode from the inside. So yeah, he came back from that and beat the hell out of this can that they put in front of him. So for that, I'll give him the beatdown of the month. Word on the fucking street.
God damn. That is powerful. Yeah, my money is on Jordan Main versus, what's his name here?
Dan Miller.
Dan Miller. Yep, there we go. Dan Miller looked good, almost had that arm bar. Jordan Main actually spun out, got up, hit him with a couple combinations, and he looked in prime form. I mean, for a welterweight at 6'2", 6'3", he's giant, and the guy has some awesome, clinch work as well as striking. That was fantastic to finish off a veteran in Dan Miller, and the way he did it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My beatdown of the month will have to be Mark Hunt versus Stefan Struve. Stefan Struve, he needs to watch UFC 101 on Field TV. Mark Hunt gave him no respect, just came out, knocked him out, walked away. Beautiful.
Hell yeah. Me and Hunt, GSP Story, all coming down with some impressive beatdowns. And it'll be fun seeing if they can keep those streaks going. Chris is logging out. Thank you for being on the show, Chris. As always, follow him on Twitter, C Lowenstein, CLOWENSTEIN. Chris Lowe, the original co-host. Always love having him on. The last couple months, he hasn't been able to be on too regularly. His work's been crazy, but always fun to have Chris on. And we only have one more topic with Ramses and Yao before we close it up.
I got breaking news. On the MMA Podcast.
Break that shit.
I'd just like to say that a good friend of mine, one of my heroes, Chael Sonnen, has just brought it to my attention as of 2 minutes ago. If you're in, the United States, now he would like to just announce that 29, the year AD in which King Dionysus died and was succeeded by Spartacus. 29 days. And I, Chael Sonnen, I, too, will take what is rightfully mine. That was just tweeted out as of 3 minutes ago.
Damn,
and he is referring to UFC 159, ladies and gentlemen. He's getting historical up in this bitch.
It looks like he'll be doing a countdown. Yesterday, he tweeted out 30, the days left until the fall of your champion and the rise of the dark side. So he will, it looks like, be doing a little series, do a significant fact for every number, winding down from 30. I wonder what 28 will be. But yeah, sure. Definitely follow your boy Chael Sonnen on Twitter if you're not already. He doesn't need any more followers. He's got 300,000 already, but he is Sonnen CH. The last topic I wanted to get to though, and follow Ramsey's The Aunt Jimmy Show, Yao at Yao the Truth. Is it Yao _the Truth, Yao?
Yes, Yao _ the Truth.
YAO if you don't know how to spell Yao, Yao _ the Truth. The last thing I want to talk about, Dana White popped his head on FX right before they were about to go to the pay-per-view and said that Ronda Rousey and the winner of Tate vs. Ngannou will be the next tough coaches, which was a revelation of its own. Women tough coaches, what the hell? But not only that, you're going to have men and women contestants. Joe Rogan said it best, you can't have dogs and cats living under the same roof. What do you guys think? I think it's nuts. One step at a time, fellas. Having women coaches, you're going to have male assistant coaches, so it won't be that, crazy. But at the same time, shit, you're going to have men and women in the house. Are they going to be fucking? I mean, honestly, you always have guys in and out of each other's rooms doing shit. I'm sure if you have men and women living in the same house, there's going to be romance. And that's going to be a weird angle we've never seen on Tough. I don't know if it's an angle we're going to want to see. It's going to be very odd. What do you guys think about having men and women in the same house, cats and dogs? Yao, you start off, then we'll pass it to Ramses.
Okay, if I had 3 pro wins and I could make 135 every week, I'd go to the tryouts, but I can't. But, yeah, I really think that the hunger is going to be taken out of the season. I think it'll be very, very nice and jokes and everything.
There will be hunger.
What'd you say?
There will be hunger, but it won't be the kind of same kind we see in previous seasons.
Yeah, right. I don't think they're gonna be hungry to win the Ultimate Fighter tournament. But I mean, it's gonna be great for TV, though. I can tell you that much. They'll bring in a lot of new audiences.
Yep, I agree, man. Jake, you're right. There will be no dining in, if you know what I'm saying. Tough bitches. I think it will actually trump Tough Season 17, which so far has, been the best of all time. But yeah, as far as the actual concept goes, this is pretty fucking ridiculous, but I say go for it, man. Let's let it happen. Let's watch it. Let's take bets. Let's see who's gonna fuck who, what kind of drama, even though that is ridiculous, but hopefully I don't know who the editors are or the cameramen, but hopefully the focus will be on the women, just because they're whatever they're new in the division, whatever, who gives a fuck. Hopefully the focus will be on the women and how they react together and live together and sleep together, bond, communicate, how they help each other train. What were we talking about, man? Yeah,
I don't think it's sexist to say that in a competitive sort of nature, men get along better than women. You put a group of boys in the same group, you give them a ball and they all become friends. You put a group of girls and they'll all start talking shit about each other. I feel like with the women in the house, there will probably be more scaled up version of drama. Maybe that is sexist. Who knows? We'll have
the women.
Joyce and Mr. Kiki one fucking tripping me up. I'm calling her bro and shit, even though it's a woman, fucking mixing my ass up. But yeah, the women followers, I might be sexist as fuck, but I do think women in the house would tone up the drama somewhat.
Nah, man, I say let it go. You know, what it could have easily have happened between two of the guys. I don't know. They're not going to show any of the crazy shit. I mean, come on, let's be real here. Just like they're not showing us the crazier shit on this season, which I will not get into. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. You know, obviously everyone knows there's fucking cameras everywhere at all times. So how it's not gonna get like preposterous, like real world style. You know, these people aren't there for that. They actually have a purpose. They're gonna be there to fight. So hopefully the focus will be on that. But yeah, I think it'll make for some funny ass shit. But I don't think that the UFC is ready to go down the whole fucking full reality show route, as far as like just to get ratings and shit, especially when they're trying to make women's MMA legitimate. So I think it'll be tastefully done, even if it does get crazy behind the scenes.
Definitely. And I guess with that, there's not really anything else to shout out. I would mention another female listener, Lexi Natalia, but she blocked the MMA podcast because we apparently got creepy with her on that one word on the street where Chris and I started getting weird as usual. But what else can you expect? It's the MMA Podcast. Yo, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. You can visit us on Twitter, the MMA Podcast, or website, themmapodcast.com. This show it's either going to be Wednesday or Friday. It's going to be a little shaky the next few weeks while we get shit figured out. But then we'll eventually we'll nail down a permanent date. Just follow us on Twitter and figure out when the shows will be. We'll let you know a couple days in advance. Also listen to the Roundtable. That's tomorrow and every Thursday night, 7 to 9 Eastern, 4 to 6 Pacific. Ramses, what's the word on the street?
Yeah, look, if you're sick of the bullshit, you know, just follow me on Twitter, the Ant Jimmy Show on Twitter. That is the word on the street. You'll figure out everything. Everything will start to make sense in life, alright? I mean, you know, smoke some weed, follow me on Twitter, and then, you know, all your problems go away. The IRS is after you. Who gives a shit? You know, you got paternity tests up your ass. You got lawsuits, man. People, you know, the lady upstairs wants to rent. Fuck that shit. Follow me on Twitter. That is the word on the street. Thank you.
Word on the street. Yo, follow Yao _the truth. You have any other shout-outs?
Yes, I do. Just follow me on Twitter, Yao _the truth. I will be fighting Mike Ritchie soon in the UFC, probably in a couple years. And I want to see Bigfoot Silva versus Ronda Rousey.
Damn, sorry, I was taking a drink of water and choked when you said Bigfoot Silva versus Ronda Rousey. What the fuck? I do not want to see that. I want to see Ronda Rousey do other things other than fight Bigfoot Silva. That would be illegal in some states, but not fight Bigfoot Silva. Yo, once again, if you're listening, thank you so much. You know, you can visit us on the MMA Podcast. Click up on those top tabs. Click iTunes or YouTube. And our whole archive are on both of those. Subscribe to us on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube. We've been getting more and more hits on YouTube, so if you are listening, just click that little upper left button, and it'll send you a little alert for every episode, which we usually come out with 2 a week, this one and the Roundtable, which will be tomorrow night with myself. Ramses won't be able to make it, but we'll have the rest of the crew. Really, honestly, I say it a million times, but thank you so much for listening. The positive comments, the amount of listens and support and everything we've gotten. I'm fucking rambling here. Thank you so much. Y'all fucking keep it going. Keep it real as fuck. Till next week, for myself, Ramses, Chris, Yao, we fucking going. See ya.